Hey y'all, it's Dee Dee with Bible Pixie, and welcome to my channel. I know it's been a while, and I'm so sorry. I'm just not even gonna make excuses anymore. But hence why we are filming in our car today, because life is crazy. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I've got my air kind of turned up because it's hot. But I had just a few minutes before I have to go back inside on my lunch break. But I wanted to make a video, something I have been, planning to do for a while on a certain subject, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But have you ever been in an argument with someone, an atheist? Most of the time is who we hear make the argument. It's kind of, stupid of, can God make a rock so big that he cannot lift it? Well, that got me thinking, because I ran across a post the other day again with it, and it got me thinking about the kind of the paradoxical argument that a lot of people will make that don't understand God. Because we always say, as Christians, we believe that God is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-present. But what we fail to understand, and what we fail to communicate sometimes, is that there are limitations to God. Now, hear me out before, you come after me with your torches and pitchforks. I believe that God has limited himself. I don't believe that any outside force puts limits on God. But there are things that God cannot do. And I have scripture to back it up. So I'm just going to give you a real quick list of 5 things that I believe that God cannot do. And I'm going to give you the scripture references. I'm not going to read out the scriptures. I want you guys to actually go and look these references up. See if you agree with me. And if you don't, put it in the comments below what you think I got wrong. Okay, the first one, number 1, God cannot sin. Now, the reason we say this, or I say this, is because sin, as we understand it, is disobedience to God. So God cannot disobey himself, but the scriptures that I have to back that up is 2 Timothy 2:13. 2 Timothy 2:13. Also, James 1:13. James 1:13. And Psalms 145:17. Psalms 145:17. Now, number 2, God cannot cease to exist. In our human understanding, it's very hard for us to understand the concept of eternity. I think it's a lot easier for us to understand never ending, like from here on, never ending, because I believe that God created us as an eternal soul. So we can understand the concept of never ending. But one thing that we cannot understand or can't fully wrap our minds around is no beginning. Because everything we know, everything we see has a beginning. Life on this planet, us, all has a beginning, a starting point. God doesn't have a starting point. He's always existed, but it's hard for us to wrap our mind around it. But just like we are created to be an eternal soul, God cannot cease to exist. And the scriptures that we have to back that up is Deuteronomy 32, 39, and 40. Again, that's Deuteronomy 32, 39, and 40. Also, Psalms 102, 25 through 27, Psalms 102, 25 and 27 through 27, and then also Isaiah 40, 28. Isaiah 40, 28. On to number 3. God cannot lie. We believe as Christians that God and what He says is the basis for truth. God is truth. So God cannot lie. So if God says the sky is green, the sky would be green because God is our basis for truth. Whatever we understand or perceive, that is tainted by our perception, by our preconceived notions, or by our experience, lived experience. However, what God has said is truth, and God cannot lie. And it's kind of like one of those circular reasoning, like the question I said in the beginning, could God make a rock so big that He can't lift it? It's almost circular reasoning, as in God cannot lie because everything He says is truth. So if God said a lie, would it become truth? It's one of those things that's so hard for us in our finite mind to wrap our minds around. So, next, number 4, God cannot change. We see in our lives, throughout our lives, everything is about change. Us growing, maturing, life cycles, seasons, everything about life as we know it is all about change. It's all wrapped up in change. We plan our lives according to change. However, God can't change. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Everything that God has done is all set, and it won't change. He won't allow it to change. He can't change. And us as Christians, and really the world, should find comfort in the fact that God can't and won't change. I've been in early childhood development, years ago, and one thing that was reiterated time and time again is that children need stability. Children need boundaries, and children can thrive in an environment that they can depend on. Children love predictability, and I think it's because it makes them feel safe. And the same can be said with God. God, if we look at other religions of the world, their belief in their God, sometimes with like Norse religions or with Indian religions, in the plethora of gods that they have. And we see this with like Greek mythology. Their gods were very controlled by their emotions. Anger. Their gods were easily angered, and we see this where their gods were displayed very human emotions and human reactions and could change on a whim. As Christians, we know that the one true God, He does not change. He is steady. He says it and sticks by it. We can always know that as the bedrock, as the foundation of our faith, He is going to be the same. He's going to stand on His word, and He is immovable. He does not change. And we should find so much comfort in that, especially in a world where, change is happening so rapidly with the technology and with the dumpster fire that we live in these days. How, one day it's this way and the next day it's this way, and just there's so much change and chaos that breeds. God's not like that. God is so steady, so immovable. God is not caught off by surprise. Nothing ever occurred to God. He is just so constant. And to me, that is the most comforting thing, is that he doesn't change like the wind. He's so steady, and he is my foundation. That leads me to number 5, the 5th one. God cannot stop loving us. Oh wait, I forgot the scriptures to back up God cannot change on number 4. First one is Malachi 3:6. Malachi 3:6. Second one is Hebrews 13:8. Hebrews 13:8. And James 1:7. James 1:7. So, number 5, God cannot stop loving us. No matter what we do. See, and this is another kind of pitfall with our human condition. We say as parents that our love is unconditional, but we know that that's not really true. If our child did something so horrific, so abominable, whatever that word is. If our child did something so egregious, there's a point of no return. There's a point to where our love stops. And no matter if it's with our spouses, with our children, with our parents, family, whatever, there is an end to our love. There is a line that people can cross that they at some point will stop loving us, or we will stop loving them. And that is just because we are human and we are flawed. There is no end to God's love. There is nothing that we could ever do, say, think, any act we could commit that ever would make God stop loving us. Now, there is an end to his patience. There is an end to his mercy. There is an end to his grace. Once we cross that line, he is bound by his justness to punish us. But he will never stop loving us. I guarantee you, even though he calls Satan his enemy, I guarantee you God still loves Lucifer. Because that is just God. And I believe that if there was an end to God's love, that he would not show the mercy that he has to the people who commit evil. And so I have run across people in my walk and in my ministry that believe because of what they have done, they could never be forgiven by God. And I believe that it is the flesh and some errant teaching that has led them to believe this, that they've gone too far. Now, I do believe that someone can tell God no enough. Scripture talks about hardening our heart. I do believe that people can go so far that God just takes his hand off of them, maybe stops convicting them, stops chasing after them, but he never stops loving them, ever. And the scriptures I have to back that up is Jeremiah 31:3. Jeremiah 31:3. And the biggest and best one is Romans 8:38 and 39. Romans 8:38 and 39. Look these scriptures up. Tell me what you think. Research it. and reassure yourself that we don't know if God could make a rock so big that he couldn't lift it. But we know that we have a God who can never stop loving us, who is the same yesterday, today, forever, that his word is law, that he cannot sin, cannot lie. And we can anchor ourselves in him. We can use him as our moral compass, that we can use him as our anchor of truth and our North Star. There are so many things that God is and can be to us if we're just willing to surrender to him. And I hope you got something out of this. I know it was pretty quick and kind of unconventional setting, but a question for you, kind of a head scratcher, brain teaser. And let me know in the comments what you think. I posed this to Bill not long ago, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I haven't really done a deep dive into scripture to see what it says about this. But I think, personal opinion, like I said, I haven't researched it, I believe one thing that God cannot do is I believe he cannot destroy a soul. Tell me what you think. The basis, kind of just the thought process to this, is that once God creates a soul, at the end of life, that soul has to go somewhere. It either goes to heaven or it goes to hell, and in the end, the lake of fire. If God could destroy a soul, and like I said in the beginning, God is only limited by the limitations he puts on himself. So if God made the soul indestructible, if God could destroy a soul, wouldn't he rather destroy it than to see it go to hell? Give me your thoughts in the comments below. It's kind of a head scratcher. And I'll try to do some research and let you know if I find any scriptures to back me up or that prove me wrong. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time.